Welcome to episode 20 of Savage Discourse, where we are in a heated, friendly discussion.
Yeah, we are.
Well, it's not a discussion. It's more like betrayal on the Orient Express.
Yeah, John just lied to me.
I've lied to Kyle. We are expanding our alcohol culinary avenues by making a Irish whiskey coffee.
It's Kentucky whiskey.
Kentucky whiskey.
Kentucky coffee.
Kentucky whiskey. And it is I was under the impression that it was like a 5 out of 10. Kyle exclaimed in agony, and then I told him that it was actually like a 2 out of 10.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. We're missing ingredients though, so we basically just have bourbon and coffee
And brown sugar.
Brown sugar. I don't know how much sugar is supposed to be.
I love
in
that
it.
you have the brown sugar resting on top of the audio interface that we just talked about with several $100s.
That brown sugar is important too, though.
That's fair.
Yeah, you're kind of dismissing the brown sugar.
Okay, that's fair.
Speak up, I can't hear you.
Welcome back to episode 20 of Savage Discourse, where I'm John.
I'm Kyle.
And we're going to talk about some depressing things today, such as what it's like to go to a party in your 30s.
Was that depressing? I thought it was a good darn time.
I was dang old tootin'.
Good heckin' time.
Dang right. Heck yeah, right.
All right.
Good dang. Heckin' yeah, freaking darn. It was good. It was, although I just like, I guess it like the older you get, I just feel more out of place. So,
first of all, it wasn't a party. It was a Friendsgiving get-together.
Oh, you know what? I may have gone in with the wrong protocol.
Yeah, what were you thinking you were going to do?
I don't know. Just make some genuine social interactions, maybe add to the list of infinity friends and get out of the other side.
Yeah, you can do that at a Friendsgiving get-together.
Well,
did you just think there'd be more breakdancing?
I will say this Friendsgiving turned out delightfully in an unplanned and unexpectedly wonderful
Yeah,
way.
I didn't think it was going to go that way.
Yeah.
Yep.
The bodies afterwards, the lubricants, the fluids.
The bodies did hit the floor, and we let them.
And you know what? I was one of them. So, last week, what did we talk about?
Stuff.
All right, last week we talked about stuff. Go check out that episode. What an awesome endorsement. Yo, we do stuff on this
That's what we
channel.
do now. We talk about stuff and things.
We have expanded the realm of content to stuff as well as things.
Mm-hmm.
Before it was just items and objects.
Yeah. It's more like inventory.
Mm-hmm. So go check that out if you like indexes. Yeah, I wanted to talk about that because we had a pretty awesome experience last night.
Yeah.
Awesome in the old biblical word, meaning inspiring awe. Not necessarily in like a glorious religious way, but in like a pants dutying, like shirt ripping way.
Yeah. I almost shit myself.
Like in the way Job went. Dude, have we ever talked about the Job from the Bible?
I don't think so.
Okay, this is
you talking about Job?
So Job, not from what was that show that had the people and it
Family
was
Guy.
No, it was
American
like
Dad.
Really, no, it's live action. It was really and he was like the magician in the show, and it had Buster, and he's like 1 billion, and they were all terrible people. There was 4 seasons, and it has a weird name. It's like really punny. Oh
When did it air?
It was on Netflix, and maybe some. Anyway,
Have we talked about it?
No.
Oh.
Oh my God, I can't remember what it's called now. Anyway, it'll come back to me. But So Job, as a biblical figure, was given like everything and had everything. And I'm probably going to butcher the whole story, but this is a really funny thing to open up on since I talked about like ripping our shirts and like a biblical sign of like of defeat and anguish. So like Job had everything, and then I'm pretty sure that God like just started testing him for no fucking reason and like started killing off his livestock, and like his daughters or wives were like raped or taken, or like pestilence was visited, And like all of these terrible things just kept happening to him, and he was like, "Why, God, why?" And they're like, "Oh, there's probably a reason." So, and this was a guy who was like a good Christian, had done nothing wrong, and God just was like, fucking pulled up clickety clack on his laptop, and then was like, "Who am I gonna fuck with today?" And just like closed his eyes and hit Google Earth and zoomed in on this dude in the middle of the Middle East, and was like, "Job." Welcome to hell, buddy. And so anyway, Job goes out in the desert, and he just is like he's like wife. I don't remember. It's like his wife and children have been raped or killed or sold off or something, and his animals are dead. His crops are like dying and have pestilence. And he goes out there, and God comes to him. And now, if you were wandering out in the wilderness, what do you think would be a reasonable way for an omniscient, omnipotent being to present themselves to you as?
Like, hey, I'm God.
Like in a way that wouldn't like shake you to the core.
If he gently gave me some water or something.
Okay, but what form would that omniscient, loving, all-knowing being take?
I would assume like a human God form, or
Okay.
like a sheep, maybe.
So God came to Job in the middle of a desert as a fucking tornado.
Are you serious?
As a way to calm his spirits and present to him. Actually, I think it was to show him how mighty and terrifying he was.
Oh yeah, like he didn't know already.
Yeah, and so basically he was like, "Job, I was testing your faith." And he was like, "God, I literally have done nothing wrong. Why are you doing this to me?" And he was like, "Because I wanted to make you a better man and stronger." And so Job like tears his shirt, which is like an old Middle Eastern like a cultural like way of showing anger. It's like I think Greek and Roman too. Like you tear your tunic as like a sign of like mortal anguish. And then he was like, "Okay, well, even though I've done nothing wrong and you've chosen to drop a biblical shit ton of dump on me, I'm gonna continue to worship you." And God's like, "That's right, bitch.
You passed.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, who's your daddy?" And then he goes back, and then I think he like slowly starts getting his shit back that he can do. But anyway, that was a fun little early departure because I love that story because it's so funny because, you know, obviously if you subscribe to that, you're tasked with the awesome task of trying to discern some type of moral lesson or didactic impression or aphorism, and it's like, what is there? What's really meaningful there?
I think the lesson here is God's a fucking troll.
Or bad things happen to good people, and they happen for reasons that the gods decide.
Yeah. You know what I think? I think during the Old Testament, God was just going through a bad breakup.
You know, in the Old Testament, God is actually one of so it's interesting because everyone in the Christian tradition, God is like a greater than human, like, and he's like perfect and can do no wrong. But
except for all the wrong he does.
But that's in the New Testament. But in the Old Testament, he's a lot more like Greek and Roman gods, which are people that like mingle amongst the humans and have human emotions and do human things like get drunk and have sex and impregnate people and lie and steal and mess with the mortals' affairs. And so it's interesting because the Old Testament was supposedly written around that time that it has so much in common, which there's a lot of information that obviously shows that Christianity was a pagan religion. It borrowed from Roman and Greek traditions to devise its credo. And so it's just really ironic that God was basically a pissed off girlfriend back then and was like, "You can't like nobody else but me, or I'll literally decimate your fucking population." That doesn't sound very benevolent.
Yeah, sounds like an asshole, but...
So anyway, Kyle and I went to a party.
Oh, yeah.
So it is around that time of the year. It's November.
Noviembre,
and which is Spanish for month of Novum. Novum.
Also French for Thanksgiving.
Probably. And
that's where it came from, you know.
from the Frenchos. So we were invited to, and that's what got me thinking about this topic is what it's like to go to, because we've talked to other episodes about going to shows and festivals and different events, but you know, part of like I think being like in your 20s and is going and attending these social gatherings and getting out there and
what's up?
Oh, I didn't know we were guest starring your ass. Jesus Christ.
Continue.
Kyle just revved up Bonesaw, which is his amazing name for his ass whenever he farts. So Bonesaw is here.
Welcome.
Welcome, Bonesaw. I would give you a mic, but we only have two, and I'm not gonna put it back up to my face afterwards.
It's a good call.
Not never. I don't want pink eye again. So anyway, you go and you get to know your friends, but in your 30s, I feel like is a passage. I have this book by Gail Sheehy. Shut the fuck up! Don't laugh at my book references.
10 minutes. 10 minutes in.
And it's called Passages. And the short version is that your 30s are a passage of time, like every decade. And she says that there's like, your teens and your 20s and 30s and 40s, 50s, that every decade is symbolic of this like passage and transition from one stage to another. And your 30s is one where you revisit and really realign your values and figure out and come in and metamorphosize into who you really are. You come out of the cocoon of your 20s into the person, and you kind of realign and recalibrate.
What's 20s?
20s is really just kind of like beginning to find yourself, exploring your interest. In your 30s, it gets cemented, and you get to make conscious decisions rather than kind of following things willy nilly.
What's 40s?
I haven't read that far.
You just go in and go here. Only reading what's relevant to you.
It's a book I visit every decade. I'm like, time to crack this bad boy back open and see what's in store for my 60s.
Oh no.
Colon cancer.
That is not what I was hoping to read.
Dude, my family has a history of colon cancer, and my dad has made sure in no small or subtle way that I get finger blasted regularly by my doctor as soon as I hit like 45.
Interesting.
So I will make sure. That goes, oh, that's right. Last week we talked about milking your prostate. That's an excellent throwback.
Yeah, I mean, you could chalk that up as you're just examining yourself for colon cancer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm making sure that my prostate is healthy, and also its relationship to the ejaculation. Shut up, Bonesaw. God, dude. Kyle,
Boy,
what are you doing?
I'm talking to you.
That's so unprofessional.
What do you mean?
We're having a professional dialogue, and you're over here fucking shitting your pamper.
That's not even me.
Okay. You gaslighting me, the only two people in the room? Was that you?
Gaslighting.
More like ass-lighting. So, we got an invite to a party. I'm sorry. Friendsgiving. I just see that's the problem is I went into it with the wrong mindset. I was like, whoa, we're gonna get rowdy and we're gonna shed our skins and bask in the cannibal glow. And you're like, I'm gonna wear a nice sweater and bring a pecan pie.
Yeah, that's what it called for.
So I want to say at the outset, Kyle and I had so we were in a group text for the week before. Maybe it was longer than a week. And so we were in there. We knew 3 of the numbers, and the other 3 we didn't know.
Yeah.
So one of the first things that happens is Kyle, the sneaky subterfuge fucking, you're a bad person. Kyle, I was getting ready to text. Everyone was like, all right, guys, just bring whatever you want. And I was literally typing, I'm going to bring a cracker tray. And as I'm typing, Kyle rapid text and puts in, I'll bring a cracker tray. And it started this giant week or two long feud in front of all these people we don't know in our group text screaming in caps lock. It was me who was screaming. Because that's the one thing that I bring. That's my thing. Like, I'm either going to bring a can of ravioli, a la Chef Boyardee, or I'm going to bring a cracker tray. That is my contribution. That is my meaningful culinary contribution to a group gathering.
I know.
And you have robbed me of that privilege.
That's why I did it.
And so everybody was bearing, was just he and I. Kyle, of course, is calm and collected because he literally, secretly is the puppet master and loves stirring the pot for every network he's in and different people. As if you've listened to this podcast at all, you'll know how devious and subtle it is. And so I'm just like screaming at him via text, like, fuck you, that is my one thing. I will eat your toes. And Kyle's just like, LOL. Oh, that's okay. You can bring a cracker tray. No one will make fun of you to your face for being the second guy to bring a cracker tray. And so anyway, I proposed a little wager with my buddy Kyle. So I said, let's do this, Kyle. Let's both go. Let's both buy a cracker tray with various assorted accoutrements. They're not going to be charcuterie variety, but they will be sufficiently variegated that people will be able to sample and choose and allocate their responding between very two distinct areas of potential reinforcement for their mouth. Kyle, being the go ahead, explain why you chose the tray that you did.
It was cheaper.
Not what I thought you were gonna say, but I guess that's accurate.
That's the reason I grabbed
I thought it was you Kyle. Okay, so like there's those, and you go to the Kroger or your Fudelian or your Save-A-Lot, and you go and there's cracker trays, and they have like the two sleeves of Ritz crackers in the middle, and then you're assorted. There's usually 4 domains of different cheeses or whatever, and Kyle got the one that was all meat.
Yeah,
there was no cheese, no fruits of it, just all meat.
I mean, and to be fair, I would normally go with that anyway, just because of protein.
And so you get the one that's devoid of any meaningful palate, any interplay of different
cheese.
flavors.
There's just no cheese.
Yes,
it's the only difference.
And so I, being the educated, erudite intellectual that I am, buy the cheese tray that was, I guess, $5 more.
Mm-hmm.
And as you'll see, that extra investment definitely paid dividends.
Yeah, they ate all the years, so we can only bring back the meat.
Okay, so let me just fucking say something, Kyle. You were trying to change the goalpost. The goalpost was raw number of food items ate off of the cracker tray. Now you're saying, oh, it's the one that got to take it home and eat later.
I'm not changing anything. First of all, it's a silly competition. Second of all, I think the numbers were...
Do not infantilize my passions.
I'm sorry.
Don't talk down to me.
I'm sorry.
My cracker trays are of utmost importance.
I'm glad you won this one.
It doesn't feel like I won when you tell me that. It doesn't feel like that. It feels like you're patting me on the back after, like, I don't know, cucking me or something, being like, she still loves you, buddy.
Don't worry. I'm sure you can pleasure her almost as well.
Anyway.
But yeah, the numbers were a lot closer until I also started smashing your cracker tray.
Yeah, why was that, Kyle? Why did you allocate your responding to a superior cachet of items?
It was closer to where I was standing.
That fits perfectly into your profile. Well, there's the thing I really like over there, but the thing that kind of I like is right here, so fuck it. God, the path of least resistance, Kyle. Didn't we both agree that we were not going to do that? Yeah. Yeah. I guess so. So anyway, Kyle and I go. This is before the party. We go and we pick our assorted trays, some better than others, and we check out.
Need some more coffee.
And we get on the road. We get there, and we show up at a house of a friend of the people that we know that we've never met before. And there's all these dudes that. And, I don't know how it is for women, but I feel like for guys, like, I'm a very social person, but, like, when I show up in a novel network of people I've never met before, I don't know, like, I just feel like maybe that's, like, a very primal, like, it's old world, like, woven and hardwired into our brain to, like, be anxious and to kind of be nervous and to be, like, kind of the outsider. And so, like, we showed up and Kyle and I were both looking at each other like, yeah, we're not going to stay very long.
There was, like, 10 dudes there, which I recognized one of them, not friends with one of them, but he's married to my friend.
Mm-hmm.
And so I knew we were in the right spot, but there's these 10 dudes outside just cracking up, laughing, having a good time, and we walked up both with a cracker tray and they just stopped laughing and looked at us, and they're like, you can set those inside, and we were like, cool. So we walked inside and then hung out in the kitchen.
Yeah, we into someone else's house, and it ends up they were really cool, and we got to meet them, and they were a friend of the people that we met, and so we both went into it. I was going into it with a party mindset, and Kyle was going into it with like
I was going into it with a survival mindset. I was trying to live because before this,
I forgot the pre-story.
Oh,
no. Let me tell this story, Kyle.
Right.
I love this because I love what you have done to yourself and how you self-victimize and self-sabotage. So Kyle has known first two things. One, you almost didn't go to this several times.
How did
Get your mic in your face.
How did I almost not go to this?
Did
I ever once...
Yeah, you have several times been like, well, I don't want to go.
But I never said I don't think I'm going to go.
I just
bitched and moaned.
Remember the wedding that we were supposed to attend?
Yeah, something else was going on.
I don't remember what that was.
Fucking Zach was in town.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Buddy, that's right.
One of my very best friends was here. One of our very best friends was here from North Kakalaki.
Zach, do not comment in the video about him calling you out and saying best friend again.
Took a break from serving our country.
Oh my God!
To come hang out with us.
Pull the flag out of your ass.
Right around Memorial Day.
The day of our amazing veterans, the best veterans.
And you want to go to a wedding instead of hanging out with our friend.
So now I'm the unpatriotic heathen.
You were close, but I reeled you in. And we hung out with Zach
that is revisionist history. That is not what. Okay, well I guess I'm gonna move on because you're distorting the story. So anyway, Kyle, as a self-sabotaging man, waited all day. He also does intermittent fasting, as he's talked about. He waited all day, and literally the hour before he was supposed to come over,
it was like 2 hours,
and pick me up, he ate an entire chicken
accidentally,
an entire bag of Cheez-Its.
That was on purpose.
And 2 entire bags of Black Forest gummies.
2 pounds. It was 1 bag, but 2 pounds.
Before going to the event of the year where we as American people culturally overeat.
Yeah. I pre-game too hard for the food.
Is that pre-gaming in our 30s, is eating before going out to dinner?
I was just hungry. And,
you were going to a place where free food was going to be readily available to everybody, and you chose to edge yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. It was the wrong choice, and I realized it very quick. I came over here and woke John up at 6 p.m.
Taking a little nap after work
to go, and like by the second, I was feeling worse, and it was the mountain of gummies that were forming in my stomach.
Guppies.
2 pounds of guppies.
Guppies.
And then I had a Tums.
A singular Tums.
It is. That's what it is.
I know. That's the name of the. It's like from like an RPG game when it's like you've earned 1 experience points. It's like you got 1 pants, 1 green, black job. What am I saying? 1. Continue.
I don't know.
I'm trying to do a bit.
But I had a Tums.
A singular Tums. Well, dude, it's like a half of a pants is not a pant.
When would you ever say a half a pants?
Shut the fuck up. I'm just saying we have to follow the logical, the language, the etymological history of the language. Like half a shirt isn't a sure. Half of a pant, like a tum. I guess it's the brand. Yeah,
you're stretching.
I'm reaching.
What's the serving size for Tums? Is it 2 or is it 1
it's
Tum?
It's as needed.
No, that's fucking broad.
I think the only thing is they set a ceiling. They're like, don't have more than 10 in a 5 or 6 hour period.
Okay. Anyway, I had one of those. Didn't help. On the way there, I was feeling worse and worse, and then we showed up, and one of my friends made 270 Jello-shots.
Yeah. So here's the other thing. Kyle has been illegal for 2.5 years, and now he is of age again. It's like it's his 21st birthday.
Yeah.
It's because because he is now fully legal, and he is ready to intermingle, and he everybody wants to take him to the ball. And he got to go to, and so he was going to the ball, and everyone was going to buy him some chocolate and some drinks.
Yeah, and get me fucked up.
And get you a little bit silly.
So she made these Jello-shots extra strong, apparently.
In quotations.
Which is debatable.
She tried. And if you ever listen to this, we're not saying you did a bad job. We're just saying that maybe use a stronger...
We're saying next time I would like to help.
Oh, there you go. Let's make it a team outing.
Yeah.
So, Kyle was being force-fed Jello-shots, and at one point while we were all eating the food that was presented and everyone was going up in groups to get it, Kyle got up and took a plate with him, and I was like, oh, you gonna get something? He was like, yep. And I was like, are you serious, Kyle? And then when he came back, he had 6 Jello-shots on his plate. And one was green. I was like, make sure you eat your dessert.
And on top of this, as we're eating, people are passing around more Jello-shots. So I was feeling really bad. I was feeling worse and worse as the night went on, and I couldn't tell if it was because of the alcohol or just more gelatin in my stomach.
You know, I will say that a lot of the elements of this gathering have the hallmarks of like a 20-something party, but it's just over the top of like regular older people activities. It'd be like if we were going to the store, but we did it on like PCP.
Well, I mean, the people that we knew going into it are in their like early 20s.
Oh, okay.
So that's where the beer pong came in.
Ah, that's right. That's later. We'll get there.
Oh, whoops.
So, we sit down and so Kyle and get there. We finally see the friends. We got the tour of the house, and we got to enjoy the layout. Got to know the haps. I went through the drawers and found 2 whisks, but was not allowed to help use them in any sense.
Those were taken away very quickly. You were not trusted with the whisks.
I literally just wanted to be of assistance to somebody to validate my existence, and nobody was permitting me that. No one was giving me that.
You could say they were whisked away.
Shut the fuck up. Boo! So we were all sitting around, and then afterwards, the party kind of split. And one of our very dear friends. So, this individual may or may not be our first podcast guest. We'll see. We felt really good about it, and we're talking about it, and we want to make sure that this goes correctly, and that person is a good fit, and that everything that it's aggrandizing for all parties involved, and nobody feels like they're being exploited or anything. But this is a friend that we met at one of the friends we were invited to bachelor's party, and this man was the I don't know if he was paid or I think we don't have to dive into it. I don't know if he was paid, but he was there as a from a friend, as on a gift from a friend, to be the
gift from a friend,
as a gift to a friend to be the stripper. And he had a lot of anxiety about it. And I told him, as somebody with a 30-something-year-old body who feels very comfortable in my skin, more than some people are comfortable experiencing.
More than you should.
And I said, buddy, I've done this before. It's real easy. You just go in there, you lock eyes on that person, and you treat them like they're the only thing that matters in the world. Your skin is the canvas. Your thrust are the paint strokes. And he said, hell yeah. So that's where we met him. He was there, and he actually brought his guitar. And so the party segued into several groups. So several people went outside to go do outside things, sit at the fire and play beer pong, and generally engaged in party conversations. And I was inside, and we were talking. We were playing music together. He likes bluegrass and can pick really well, so we were taking turns singing songs on the git fiddle, and that was really nice. Mm-hmm. As we've talked about before, my family used to put on bluegrass festivals, and really every time I hear that music, it makes me feel like I'm back home. So it was really nice to be a part of that and sing and he's just a really nice guy and super
down to earth.
Super down to earth, was an amazing guitarist, and it was just really great to be a part of that. So, but earlier I did. Sorry, so I kind of was skipping around. So we're gonna take one step back, one frame back. So I do this thing that Kyle absolutely cannot stand.
Mm-hmm.
And he has given me very, very specific, detailed feedback on this. And to him, I have said, patooey.
You have literally said patooey.
in my words and in deeds.
Yeah. Let's talk about it right now, why it's a problem.
Okay. You want to do this?
Yep. So
step up to the plate.
Anytime there is a social gathering.
What you got?
Anytime there is a social gathering, whether it's people that we know, like our close friends, or complete strangers, like last night, at a certain point, John likes to hijack the entire conversation, the entire mood of the room, and make everybody go around and say something force them to talk about themselves, and not everyone likes that. You know how everyone it's super cringy when you start a new job, or like there's a new group or something, and people are like, okay, everybody go around and say your name and say something about yourself to share with the group. John loves that shit.
I do.
And everybody else hates it.
No.
Hates it.
Okay, so several things. What are your dependent variables here? What data have you collected? What interviews have you conducted to determine that everybody universally dislikes it?
I cannot say all 7 billion people in the world.
Nope.
But I can say between all of our close friends, every single one of us hates it.
I think you might be projecting your own anxieties and insecurities.
I've talked to them all, and they're like, yeah, that shit sucks. That's why we get up and walk away when he does it.
They've never told me that.
They've all told me that. Well, I guarantee if you call any of them right now, they will gladly tell you. They didn't think it would make a difference, which clearly I'm the asshole because I thought it would by talking to you about it.
You made the mistake of approaching an unstoppable force.
I was like, you know what? I would like to talk to John about this. I think
he's a logical, emotionally intelligent man. He'll accept my feedback and make a behavioral change accordingly.
Yeah. See, now the one thing is at Friendsgiving, at Thanksgiving, that is the one time I'd be willing to give it a pass because that's everybody go around and say what you're thankful for. But on a fucking Saturday night in July, sitting around a campfire outside, everybody's talking, having a good time, and you stand, you're like, everybody, we're gonna go around and talk about our most feared way to die. That is not something people want to do.
No, I didn't say your most feared of die. I said, what are you afraid of the most? What is your greatest fear?
Not everybody wants to share.
Okay,
if you want to share.
Now you've had your time. You've posited your argument.
Mm.
Now let me field that.
Mm.
Okay. So, I love to get to know people. As you know, Kyle, I wish to reach as some people dare to dream, and dream within the limits of their homes and the roofs. I shoot for the stars, and I want to have infinity friends. And so in order to have infinity friends, which I recognize is impossible, as I'm like burping over and over.
Yeah, I like that Bonesaw is offensive, but you can just belch into the mic.
I'm not belching into the mic. You are literally Daytona Speedwaying streaking my couch.
I bet no one can hear it.
Okay.
No one would even know if you didn't bring it up.
It's just so great. So, I like to know people, and in everything I've read, in all performance management, and all leadership text, and everything I've experienced, the best way to get people to be engaged and to feel comfortable is to show, as somebody who is present in some figure, to show vulnerability in a large capacity. And to do that, that doesn't have to be self-deprecating or effacing. I happen to like that variety of self-deprecating humor. But to show them, like, hey, you're all here at my house and we're all here together having a good time. Like, I want to get to know you guys. Like, yeah, we're in our 30s, we're in our 20s, whatever. But, like, we're just human beings and all of our lives have crisscrossed and we're here in this moment together. I want to know a little bit about you, not just your party selves or the self that you're here, not your ideal self. I want to know about the shadow self. I want to know about the self that we don't get to really experience because we're too shy or too insecure or too anxious to share. And I want to do that by sharing some really revealing, what other people would die if people found out hearing about themselves. I like to share that as a show of good faith and open vulnerability to say, this is a safe space. You can be yourself here. You can take down the barricade, the wall, and the facade you've put up to make sure that nobody thinks you're out of place, that nobody sees that you're not one of the inside group, the inner group, that you can be who you are. And I like to do that. Now, I understand. Okay, let me say two things. One, I used to be really off-putting. I used to, when we go to festivals and we get stuck in elevators with strangers, I would ask questions like, do you believe in God? And what's your favorite mental illness? And do you believe that death is the end of consciousness? Those are my favorite questions, and because it would make people uncomfortable because I like shock humor. No, obviously, I didn't want anyone to be upset. I thought it was funny and maybe, the social situation. And I do understand some people are uncomfortable. But now I'm doing it out of a place of I want everyone to feel, I don't want anyone to ever feel out of place or like if they're at a place where they don't know anybody that they don't belong. And I will say when I was at my previous job where I was the only leadership figure and I was helping design and create this culture and embed it, a lasting self-sustaining culture, I wanted everyone to feel like family. And so that's kind of ingrained in me now, is I want everyone to feel like they can be a part of something, like they're there and it's meaningful. Now, before you retort, I just want to say I know how people cannot feel comfortable, and that's the whole reason I do it. I refuse to go through this life that I believe has a finite amount of days, because I don't believe anything happens afterwards, and the heaven and hell that exist on this very plane, on this planet. I don't want to get to the end of this and not have as many meaningful interactions with all these other souls brimming with experiences and memories and personalities as I can. I want to do that. And I think that some people are not primed to enjoy that. Some people feel uncomfortable because they don't think that's how human beings interact. That's how it should be. Mm-hmm. But I don't think that way.
I understand what you're saying, and I agree with everything that you're saying, that being vulnerable in a group will definitely make you all feel closer to each other. But that's not what a lot of people are looking for, even if they are at your house and hanging out. Like, it's not like everyone's just chilling by the fire like, oh man, I feel so out of place, I don't know if I belong here. No, everyone's in a conversation already with the person next to them. Everybody's having a great time.
But what are they talking about?
It doesn't matter. If you want to know, go up to them and ask. If you really want to meet everybody and want to like get into everyone's head and learn about them, go up and talk to them about what
fake. That was rhetorical. I know what they're talking about, and it's not real shit.
And what you consider real
maybe
shit.
Sometimes it is, but I feel like most people, I mean, there were some people there, like the guy who very generously pointed out that I'm in the balding head community. Mm-hmm. That guy was real, and he was talking about real stuff, and some other people did too. But you know what? None of that happened until that initial breakthrough, the hymen of awkwardness was penetrated, and we all belabored the afterbirth of the genuine interaction that we got to share. That didn't happen until then. So we could have So we could have all just had an okay time, but I don't want to have an okay time. I want every experience like that socially. There's so many moments in life that are mundane, that are boring, that are uninteresting, that we just file away as in-between points in the next big exciting thing. And I don't want that to be that.
So you think last night wouldn't have been as fun if you wouldn't have made everyone feel super awkward? You think that it just would have went down a trajectory and would have ended up puttering off?
I didn't pull my pants down and tuck my testicles into my asshole and say, look, I'm a bulldog. Like, I didn't do anything like that. I just asked everybody to go around because let's recharacterize what we're talking about. I said, hey, everybody, let's go around. Okay, so now we are now collapsing back in the stories here. We're now reversing our trend. So now we're back in the club, and we're in the room, and everyone's sitting there eating their food. And I said as I burp, I said, hey, everybody, and this is typically what I do in a social gathering. I say, everybody, let's all go around and say our name and an interesting fact about ourselves. Because then when let's talk about that, because you just said people are talking about things. But let's say that people are socially awkward or comfortable and anxious, so they tend to talk about whatever. This gives people a reason, like, hey, you were the person earlier that said you have an inverted nipple, or like, hey, you have a toxic earlobe, or like, hey, I heard that your brother has like 5 feet. Like, when people talk about those things, it gives them an icebreaker for later and future conversations. So I'm helping provide social lubrication, and albeit it's in a blast, it's in like a minigun, it's not in like a squirt gun. But so I said, let's all go around and let's talk about our name, something about ourselves. And I went first. Kyle refused to go,
and I talked everyone else out of going. That was
he did. He was like, you don't have to do this. And people were like, well, I didn't really want to. And he's like, you don't have to.
I was like, don't let him do it. What we're thankful for is that this is America and nobody can tell us what to do.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Every time you say that, I just watch the flags just slide a little further.
That has been my
thankful
asshole. Thing for the last 3 years.
I'm thankful that I don't have to follow with this bullshit. So anyway, right after I started that, I immediately felt a rumbly in my tumbly, and I went and I had to go see a man about some mudslide in the bathroom, and I heard somebody in there talk about metal. And so that was the scene.
That was while you were still in there.
Was it while I was
still
in there?
Because you were like, we're going to talk later. And he was like, hell yeah, hell right.
Hell yeah, dang right, crap, freaking dang.
Because what happened, and I don't think actually, you go ahead and finish your version, and then I'll tell you what happened.
So we started it. It got moving around. I heard people talking about who they were, what they were thankful for, who they know there. And that also builds the in-group mentality. We know that we're all interconnected by a shared group of people. We're all part of that tribe.
Yeah, everybody already knew that because we were all there at a Friendsgiving.
Yeah, but sometimes people invite like estranged cousins or bewildered nephews, and they're like, "Hey, this is my friend. He doesn't have family, so I brought him along." I guess they would know who they're there with, but like they don't have any genuine. They don't. They're several degrees removed.
Wouldn't that feel awkward if that was how you were introduced to the group because some asshole was like, everybody go around and talk about why you're here, and he's like, oh, I'm just here because I don't have anyone
I think
else.
that could manifest an awkwardness initially because that hadn't been brought to light, but then when it's communicated, then they could say something about themselves, and other people would be like, oh, me too. I also like to put cheese in my rectum. And then it's like, okay, now we're all hanging out.
Or they would just feel awkward because that's not how most people like to communicate their fears and anxiety in a group situation like that. And it would
most people
off-put them.
Don't do therapy. You know what most people don't do, Kyle?
So like, interrupt people, and that would.
No, most people do. That's Kyle's one thing. He is like the most coolly, calmy cucumbery. But the one thing that really chafes his cheeks is when he gets interrupted.
I hate it. Anyway,
no, I understand.
I think what I'm saying is I think that I understand what you're trying to do. I understand why you're trying to do it. But I think that your targeted audience, the person that feels awkward and out of place and socially unaccepted, I think that would literally be the worst thing to do for them because then they're going to be on the spot. They're going to feel like they have to share something, and they're probably not going to share something meaningful. And if they do, they're going to feel even more awkward. But anyway, continue.
I disagree.
Okay, cool. Continue.
Fuck you. I'm just kidding. So, anyway, so I went to go to Chocolate Mountain and start mining. And when I came back, that's when me and that fella started picking on the git fiddle. And or was there something in between there?
There was.
Okay, go ahead. So I went to go dump.
So
off.
John did his bullshit. It went to me. I said I wasn't gonna do it. It went to my other friend Alicia that I haven't seen in years. I'm glad she's doing well.
Aww.
And I could tell from the look on her face, she was stunned by this proposition. And I said, you don't have to go, Alicia. Don't do it. Do not buy into this bullshit. And I encourage the rest of you not to buy in either. And then my other friend,
you know who you are.
My other friend Janae was very happy to do it. So she went, and then the next person went, and then John sprinted to the bathroom to take a shit.
I literally sprinted.
As soon as you were gone, one more person went, and everybody stopped.
No, it was more than one.
It was one more person.
I was listening. I heard through the wall ambiently. It sounded like the raucous of an ongoing conversation.
Yeah, we kept talking like we were before you started this.
I'm going to pretend that everybody went and everyone's social bonds were strengthened.
Isn't that interesting?
You can't take that away from me.
Isn't that interesting how you can reaffirm the bullshit that you do if you just present it in a light that is beneficial to the way you like to see the world.
Confirmation bias.
Yeah.
So
confirmation bias from your porcelain throne.
I have many thrones. Mm-hmm. Some are literary, some are shitterary. Oh, that is a funny joke.
That is a good one. Cheers.
Cheers. Coffee.
I'm done with that coffee. That coffee's gross. No, never again.
I'm okay with it. Like, I think it's because it's giving me pep. I'm feeling pepped. But it's weird because it's a blend of a stimulant and a depressant, so I feel aggressively normal.
Right back to where you were.
I feel alarmingly mundane.
While it's in your mouth, you're having a fucking seizure, but as soon as you swallow it, it's gone.
It just, like, turns up the mid. It's just, like, not the low or the high end. It turns up the mids to, like, 20, and I'm just like, I'm good.
I would like that stimulation, but there's so much. I'm just going to chug that. I think it's cool enough now.
Yeah,
I'm just going to chug that.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, cool.
So, what are we? We regaling the tale. Oh, man, we haven't even gotten to the good parts.
Yeah,
okay.
We were at the spot where you were wrong.
Okay, so I was right, and so anyway, the party splits up. So I was sitting there, and the gentleman earlier I spoke to about death metal, he came over, and I was like, I heard him talking in the kitchen. I was like, are you the guy that said you listen to death metal? And he was like, well, yes, I am. And I was like, come on, Papa, squat next to Papa, and let's talk about it. So he came over, he squatted on Papa, and we started talking about it. And I don't know how to view this. I don't know if my view of my knowledge of metal is incredibly pedantic.
It was
and
great
shallow,
to watch.
or if there's just so many subgenres and communities within the heavy music domain that like two people can have endless experiences and none of them can overlap with different musicians. So he was like, "Oh, so you like metal?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Okay, well, how do you feel about Deicide?" And I was like, "Oh. What else you got?" And he's like, "How do you feel about?" And he went on a list of like 2 other bands that are very like black metal, heavy metal, very middle of the road or niche. And I was like, "I'm gonna level with you, buddy. I've never listened or heard of any of those groups." And his face just fell, and he was like, "What do you listen to?" And I was like, "Well,
like the Star Ripped.
Have you ever heard of Aerosmith?" But I listed mine, and eventually we came to some common ground after talking around the different, sub and micro genres of hard rock and metal, of which, like, I know Kyle and I, we had a podcast I don't know if it was last week or the week before, we really went down like a music, rock, metal hole, and there is just so much diversity in that field, and there's a lot of people that are very ecumenical. They're very open-minded about it. Like, it doesn't matter if it's like emo or if it's heavy metal or goth metal or doom metal or black metal. Everyone, it's just like, hey, you like what you like. But there's also metal elitists that only think that certain, and I'm not saying he's this way, I'm just making a point in general, but there's just some people, and I just feel like that's just not the right way to be.
Elitist?
Yeah, like if it's not dark metal and 8/4 time, and they're not
just everything else is ass.
Yeah,
okay.
You don't consider.
Yeah, I don't think he was like that at all.
No, I'm not saying he was. I'm just kind of I'm drawing a strong.
I think what happened was you said black metal. I think your all's ideas of the genre were completely different.
Yeah,
I think that like if you ask someone who only listens to country about heavy metal, they consider every single thing in like every single thing above rock heavy metal. You know what I mean?
Well, it's all screamo.
Yeah,
it's
everything's
like, are people yelling?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
and there's just so many genres. When you say black metal, he took it to a very specific niche community. Mm-hmm. But yeah, y'all found that common ground.
So yeah, we did. We found the common ground. We broed out, and so I went to return to the porcelain throne because I had not finalized my descent on the chocolate peaks. I had to take another ski lift to the top and go down again. All these snowboarding metaphors for pooping. So I came back out, and he was sitting in the middle of the room. There was a TV mounted to the wall with a super high-end gaming computer, and he had like YouTube pulled up. And this is where the things got a little bit fucky.
Yeah.
So this is the second part of the story where things get.
They start getting real cool.
Silly. So I came out and we started, he started playing some of the bands he liked, and some of them, and we both had some overlapping genres that we liked, like post-hardcore and hardcore and metalcore and different things. And so we start, just vibing out and listening to music together. And, of course, there's some other dudes milling around, the dudes that Kyle and I initially didn't really know and just kind of felt like outsiders. Well, they start trickling in, and it turns out they all like metal too. And they start conversating with the guy who I was talking to, and Kyle and I, and we're all kind of, showing the different genres and musicians that we like and talking about it. And pretty sure before you know it, we have a group of like 7 or 8 dudes all sitting around like these plastic tablecloths and tables and slamming White Claws and just screaming death metal karaoke at the TV.
Just singing along. like scream like it's lyrics that a normal bystander could not understand. Because one of the guests that just got married, her mom was there.
Oh yeah, she came in and was like looking at me.
I was wondering if you saw that.
No, I saw that. She was like staring at me with the most concerned, disagreeable
both
face.
of us were I was like 3 or 4 of us were singing along to the same song and screaming along to the same song. And she just looked at it and her eyes got so wide and she was like, "Oh my God, what are they doing in there?"
Is this a millennial thing?
Yes, it's a millennial.
Is this the next generation of leaders? And so we were all having an amazing time, and there's some pretty. So what the guy I was talking to has a roommate, and they were super funny, and they had like a very, very like old school like we've been married for 30 years vibe, a couple vibe. And they were arguing and bantering because they've lived together for 7 years. They're both paramedics, super nice guys, super funny. And I was like, you know what? If you guys live together that long, if you just like entered into a civil union, you'd probably get a tax break. And they were like, yeah, we'd probably need divorce the next day. And I was like, that's true love right there. You know, you're pulling me in, you're pushing me out. You know, it takes real men to know like what the boundaries of your relationship are. Mm-hmm. So, you know, there was a lot of silliness in there, and I learned some very great metal motions, like taking your fist and pumping them into your chest, dude, pushing them out. Breather. Song breather. And like, I hope if they ever listen to this, like, this isn't all. We love that. Like, this is
dude.
Not,
I was fucking.
We're not
dying.
taking the piss. Like, we are adopting. I'm stealing that. Like,
oh yeah,
that's
breather.
Dude, it's so great. This gets my nipples hard, breather.
And it was about this time that I started feeling normal again. Yeah.
It just took the metal medicine to soothe the guppies.
There was a point before we got friendly with everyone.
Oh, you were walking around.
You remember I was pacing around that empty room?
Yeah, we went into this house. The guy who lives here actually has bought this house, and he's fixing it up, and it's really looking really great. And there's an empty kind of like opening room where you walk in through. And Kyle, I just remember I heard him like
heavy breathing,
heavy sweating, walking around. I was like, "You okay, buddy?" And he's like, "Oh, dude, I don't think his plumbing is like." And I was like, "Dude, I just did some work in the beat lab. You want me to go check it?" He's like, "Is there a plunger in there?" I was like, "Yeah, I'll go check." I went and checked, and I was like, "Yeah." Then
I was like, "I'll go check for myself."
Yeah. And he came out and he was like, she's not rated at this level. She can't handle.
I went in there and I stared at her for a minute. I checked out the model number. It wasn't.
He cross-referenced it with his toilet list.
It was an older school Mansfield. It wasn't that great.
He was like, pulls up his phone, his pocket, pulls out your little like reading glasses, pulls up his toilet dictionary, and he's like, "Nope, in the spring of '73, I have destroyed this model. This cannot hold."
The plunger was one of those fucking not a good plunger. You know, fun fact about plungers. You know the plungers that most people see, just like the normal old plungers, probably the same thing you have there. And you know the ones that look like
saying I have a basic plunger?
I'm about to let you know. And then you know how there's some that are like tiered that have like
yes,
all right.
Yeah.
So the ones that are tiered are actually for toilets. Those are actually sink plungers.
Are you serious?
Yes, everyone has a sink plunger next to their toilet.
Okay, Kyle. Pray tell, where does one acquire that forbidden knowledge?
I don't know. I read it.
I have never seen someone plunge the sink.
What do you think you do when it gets clogged?
You pour down Drano.
I mean, I guess you could do that with
or you
shit.
Snake it.
Why would you snake it if you could just plunge it?
Plunging, it's not going to remove hair and gristle and
why do you have
grease
hair
and
in
shit?
your fucking...
I'll politely ask you to stay the fuck out of my business.
All right. Anyway, all I'm saying is when I walk into a bathroom and I'm about to dump off and it's going to be of historical proportions.
Biblical proportions.
Like last night. And I see a sink plunger next to the toilet.
The cosmos.
I'm just saying that it gives me pause. And then I gave it.
No, it gave him so much pause. He came out and he was like, "Nope, she can't handle it."
No. The last thing I did was I flushed the toilet just to see what we were, because I got to do that too. If I've never used a toilet and I'm about to,
I love that you have an entire pre-flight routine.
I do.
For
I've
your shits.
I've been hurt too many times. You know how
Oh,
bad.
are you the victim here for the damage you do to other people's property?
You know
the
how
fucking
bad
victim.
it is having to yell out at a stranger's house. Do you have a plunger?
Hey,
while
grandma.
Still squatting. Yeah, no, I do my little pre-flight checklist like you said, and I flushed it, and this thing, it took like 4 seconds to flush, and it was super low flow. It wasn't up to par. So I held it.
So I held it. I suffered. Well, and the thing is, like, you must have like your small intestine must snake its way in a large, and there must just be like this cavernous opening where you just suck things, like you just reverse digest things back up in there, and it just sits, because I don't know how you handle that, where you just wait.
I didn't shit until today, like a few hours ago.
I'm aware.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
That was very, 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 very hard to weather for me.
Did you smell that?
Yeah, I did. So anyway, it's kind of miraculous that me in other room, your arse is leaking via aerosol particulates into another space.
I have a
Yeah, I'm
talent.
smelling that. Anyway, so we're in there getting bucks, slamming our chests, screaming at the breather, screaming at the TV. And then we're just kind of bouncing between inside and outside. So I saw them taking Jello-shots and handing them out to everybody, which we should not have been. God, we did so many.
I did at least 30 Jello-shots.
Yeah, absolutely. I probably did like 2/3 of that, maybe like 15 to 20. But we went outside, and I brought my cracker tray to further boost my numbers. And I was bringing them around to everybody, and they were like, dude, what are you doing? We don't want crackers out here. And right as I was about to, I was trying to put it on the ground, and I dumped the tray out onto the ground.
Oh!
Do you remember that?
No. But that seems like boosted your numbers a lot if you're just throwing them away.
Well, no, I had to put them in the fire because, the way the pioneers did was cooking their salted, cured meats.
Kind of sounds
and
like
cheeses.
Disqualification.
No, it was an accident. It was an honest mistake.
Yeah, honest mistakes can still get you disqualified.
Yeah, I accidentally did performance-enhancing drugs. Whoops.
Yeah, like
Whoops.
Neil Armstrong. You threw away the product we were racing to get rid of.
Okay, I did not lose that much, but that's fair. If you want to say no contest, I'm okay with that because we both know who won.
The people.
It was me. The people.
The people got crackers.
Give the people what they want. Meats and cheeses. Jizz. And so yeah, we went out there. I dumped it in there, threw it in, and then I went to go take the cracker tray. Again, this is me through the lens of my being a 30-year-old at a party, and I took the cracker tray inside, and I just, in the mood I was in the state I was in, I set it on the dryer on the door, on like the hallway that leads outside. And as I'm setting it on the dryer, like, oh, this should probably be okay, but if I lived here, I wouldn't set this here. The guy who owns the house came in behind me, and I made eye contact with him, and we just kind of shared that moment of him seeing me put this disheveled cracker tray on his clearly not designated for cracker trays dryer. And I was like, I'm so sorry. I'm being such a bad guest. And he's like, yeah, you should probably put that in the kitchen.
Yeah, the one room over.
Yeah, the room where the food lives. And I took it in there and set it down, and we were cool after that. I was like, I'm sorry, man. And he's like, no, man, it's all good. And I was like, well, cool. You just don't look in any of your cabinets because I've been hiding food all over this house.
It's my fetish.
I can't wait for you to find it. Make sure you tell me. Morty. Excuse me. So the third leg of the party.
A lot of legs.
Oh, dude. So we go outside, and we're all just kind of enjoying the fire, and there's a little bit of beer pong going on. I have never been of athletic build or talent, so I sat out. I don't know. Did you play at all?
Yeah, I played.
Did you win?
No, I do this thing at every single party I go to. Janae talks shit to me about playing beer pong.
She talks shit to me, too.
I know. I tell her I'm not good. And she's like, oh, it's okay. We'll just play for fun. And then when they win, they're like, you fucking eat my ass. We're better than you. Don't ever fucking forget it. And I'm like, all right, see you next time.
Yes, I'm aware. I literally communicated this to you a priori. And so, I bowed out, still got the same shit talked to me, but I'm not a weak-willed person. I didn't let that affect me.
Well, I was trying to, honestly, I went outside so I could air out my ass. And there was a beer pong table there, and I didn't want to get found out. So when she challenged me, I just jumped on.
Found out? What do you mean?
I was
just streaking cheeks.
Like, why else are you out here if you're not trying to play beer pong? And I'm
I know,
like,
you're just out there wandering in the yard with your hand on your stomach. She's like, Kyle, you out here to get ready for beer pong? You're like, that's it.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah,
I've been out here for 30 minutes preparing for beer pong. Don't go to any of the corners of the property. And so we're outside hanging out, and then I hear some excited yelling and vocalizing. Oh my God! Just dropping your drink all over my couch.
It was like 2 droplets.
My pristine,
it was
markless, flawless couch.
2 driplets.
2 driplets.
And this couch smells like piss.
Yeah, you know who sleeps on this couch a lot?
Yeah, that's why I know it smells like piss so well.
Well, quit pissing on the couch.
I can't fucking hold it. You know how far away the bathroom
Why are you
is?
complaining about sleeping in your own piss?
Someone's got
Isn't
to.
that like a primordial, like predatory thing to do? You mark your zone and then you sleep in it. Like, aren't you supposed to be aroused or proud?
Who says I'm not?
All right. Well, I confused.
I'm
your
just
signals.
confused what you're doing here.
The wires got tangled. So anyway, I heard some yelling, went inside, and this is the next leg of the party.
4 legs.
Yeah,
This
there's
party's a dog.
party or a giraffe
That's
or
awesome.
a hedgehog or any other quadruped. You know, quadruped literally means 4-legged because
Wow.
ped is the suffix for leg.
Wow.
Pseudopod means false leg.
Whoa.
Pseudo pod. ped.
Continue.
So, a little bit of biology and Latin there
Thank
for
you.
you. You're welcome, Kyle. I know you appreciate it. So we went inside, and there were people playing the VR. So this man has a very expensive VR headset, an Index from Valve, which is kind of like it's kind of like the Rolls Royce of VRs. It's like $1,000. Has every finger is manipulable, whereas like the previous handsets just do like it kind of looks like you're a Lego person. You have like a thumb in the rest of your fingers, but this actually gives you the dexterity of like a full VR headset. A full, like you have hands. And the first game we're in there was Beat Saber, which is one that I have. I used to have a HTC Vive, which is a VR, but I sold it because I didn't use it. And now I wish I had it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure I'll get another one at some
Yeah.
point. But so anyway, went in there and they're playing. And of course, you know, people are incredibly intoxicated. And it's fun. You know, we're all just goofing about. And flashback to earlier in the party, we were all hanging out. The guy's name, let's call him Trevor.
All right.
Trevor was there, and he was the owner of the house. And we were like, oh, you have VR, and I have VR. I used to have VR. So, of course, the first question as an intellectual, cosmopolitan, world-traveling man, I had to know, do you watch VR porn?
Mm-hmm.
And of course, he said, why, yes, I do. I actually have a state-of-the-art porn game, and I, of course, know several. So I was like, is it this one? Is it this one? And he was like, no. This is actually, I think he called it like the pinnacle of pornographic like sex games in VR. And I was like, I've never heard of that. This is a true man of culture. So, and so he was like, yeah, I was like, are we trying to get everyone to do that? And of course, Janae was like, I want to be a part of that. And I was like, I'll start working on it. So throughout the night, I was like, do you guys like VR? All right. You guys ever watch porn? All right. You guys want to do VR porn? And so we finally, so after Beat Saber, he pulls up this porn game in VR.
Yeah.
And the best way I can describe it is imagine like 2 very realistic looking mannequins with full, you know, every orifice represented, fully modeled genitalia, teeth, mouth, eyes, ears, nose, Macarena. And you using the disembodied hands in the VR, you can position them and you know be a part of the action. So this is where things get really hilarious. So I have not laughed so hard that I have fallen onto the floor in since I was a little girl, and dude, I laughed so hard I fell on the little floor, little girl floor, because the guy we were talking about the medal with earlier, the first guy, ended up becoming quite inebriated, and so the thing that is my favorite thing that is I've seen at a gathering of people in a while. Oh, by the way, this is the November in 2020, so technically we weren't supposed to have a group of more than like what 2 households. Like
That's
10
in
people.
Louisville. That was Indiana.
Oh yeah, Indiana's a
That was
lawless
Indy
wasteland.
banana.
Yeah, it's like it's like Sodom and Gomorrah in India, which is
Andy.
ironic because it's a very religious place. But it's just like they don't, you know, it's very unscientific.
Yeah, I don't give a
people.
shit.
No, they're you know. Anyway.
Evolution's not real up there.
No, of course not. Neither is the medicine they use to keep their habits alive.
Yeah.
And the agriculture and horticulture that, you know, propels the cigarettes and everything else. So anyway, sorry, I'm being very cynical. So anyway, we were over there in this lawless land. So anyway, this guy is one of my favorite things is I remember leaving the room and coming back in. And after watching this game and what you can do with it, the way to imagine it is like you can do anything. You have a male mannequin, you have a female mannequin, fully posed, fully rendered. You can literally make them do anything that like sexual adults can do to each other in 3D space. So like anything really, and some freaky space stuff, zero gravity, hovering, like an avant-garde art piece, like just crazy, just fluids and genitals everywhere. And so when I walked in, I saw this guy, and what he was doing was the female was like across the, like floating in space, like 5 feet above the floor, like away from the dude. The male mannequin was bent over, and he had his entire hand in the dude's ass. Like in this miraculous playground of sexual pulchritude, you could do anything, and this guy chose to fist the ass of the dude. And I fell to the ground laughing. It was so funny. I don't know what your experience of all that was, but that was mine.
I was outside with the mom, explaining to her, first of all, what VR was. And then explaining...
She's like, oh, they have pills for VR now. You're like, no, it's not HIV.
And then explaining why people would watch VR porn. And then...
In a group setting.
Yeah, and then trying to explain why y'all were doing it in a group setting and why we could hear you all cheering from the house. So it sounded like y'all were watching a sports game. So I was on mom duty during that.
Dude, I can only imagine from a bystander's perspective. Oh, dude, it was so funny. Like just watching him. Like I don't even think that the rectum or the asshole of the guy was rendered. So he was just like full arm Lego hand fisting this asshole. And oh my god, dude, it was so funny.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because, you know, you would think in a diverse mixed crowd of people, the women would be uncomfortable. But all the ladies that were present were like, fuck her face, put the dick in her. And we couldn't figure it out. We could not figure out how to make that happen.
Really?
Yeah.
You couldn't make like the mannequin are you talking about the dick that was attached to your disembodied hands?
Yes.
Like, was there a dick there?
The role of the the role the player plays.
If you look down, there was a dick?
Nope. There wasn't one.
I think that game, if I had to guess based on what you're saying, I think you're more of the puppet master and you're supposed to make the mannequins fuck.
Okay. I get that.
That's what it sounds like to me.
So, that is, so after enjoying that and falling to the floor, I get up and I go outside and we start talking. And so me and the owner of the house, Trevor, start broing out over some stuff we've done as we were younger. You know, we're both men who are very open-minded, and we both were talking about what it's like to be with a guy and to make out and to do what heterosexual people would call homosexual things. You know what I'm saying, Kyle? Get it?
I get it.
So imagine like what a male and a female do,
yeah.
but instead of the female part, you're going to take that away and you're going to put another male there.
Wait, so there's two guys?
Yes.
But there's also two girls?
No. Yeah, it can be, but not at the same time.
What? How does that work?
Okay, so this is really crazy. I need you to stay with me. It doesn't matter.
What?
You could be whoever you want to be. Love is love. Isn't that crazy?
But the Bible.
And listen. The thing that's really that I love is that in ancient Greece and Rome, which were around hundreds if not thousands of years before pre-Christian pagan religion, they actually were very homosexual, and they had built into their society a mentorship where young men were taught how to sleep with women by older men, and they did a lot of butt stuff.
But the Bible.
So anyway, we were over there talking, and we were just broing out and talking about, and that's how we both realized, like, oh, we're not bisexual or gay. We're just very open-minded, and we tried it, and we discovered, like, hey, you know, you can't hate Pepsi till you try it. You can't like not like the pepperoni Lunchables till you try it. You can't not like dick till you try it, or men. And so one of the older individuals of the party,
the mom. We're calling her the mom.
Calling her the mom. It was very difficult for her to understand that. Yeah. And she
wasn't like like homophobic, I don't think.
No,
I didn't get that
vibe. I don't know.
She just couldn't understand
the
how.
lines, like in her mind, those are two like separate camps. Like you can't be in between. You're either this or that.
Yeah. So she couldn't understand how two men that are saying they are straight have ever done anything else with a man. Mm-hmm. And I believe that the thing that she said was, if you've ever done anything with a man, then you're at least bisexual. Mm-hmm. And Trevor at this point was very drunk, and he was like, no, that's bullshit. You're wrong.
No.
And he was like, I don't trust anyone who's around my age that hasn't messed around with a guy.
Oh, yeah. and he was like, listen, if you have a friend, anyone you've ever talked to a guy, and they tell you they haven't messed around with a man, they're lying. And we were like, oh, hold on, pump the brakes.
And the mom looked at me, and I was like, I don't really agree with that.
No. I was going to, so the part that I love is that we were over there broing out over this gay stuff, and then she, looks over at Kyle, and Kyle's like, no, I'm not me. I'm not one of those guys.
I have not done that.
He's lying.
So
He's fucking lying.
Maybe I'm gay because I haven't sucked a dick.
Dude, you might be.
Maybe, dude.
It's like you don't know what you like until you like it. So, technically, you could have liked it all along.
I just feel like I've got a pretty good idea. That's not what I'm into.
Well, now I can tell you that I do feel that way. I think that at first it was like, I'm going to do it because I'm very open-minded and love is love and people are people and organisms. We chase what feels good and human beings are human beings. But then as I got older, I was like, no, because sexuality is a spectrum. It's not binary. Mm-hmm. And anyway, so that was a fun conversation. But the thing that I loved about that, the kind of joke we alluded to earlier, is that she believed that is that a millennial thing? And it's like, I don't think millennials are any more or less gay or not gay than anyone else in history. And technically, if you look at prehistory, things were pretty gay for a very long time.
Yeah, but I mean, no, I think she's right. It is a millennial thing in the sense that millennials they're not so pressured by society that if they have questions, they're just going to bottle those up and push them down and just continue pumping out babies with the girl they married when they were 19. I think millennials are more apt to actually go out and explore those things and figure it out.
So one of the things I brought up was like, let's talk about the 60s and 70s. And she was like, no, let's not. And I was like, no, okay. Okay. Let's only find the things that affirm our own position. So which yours is missionary?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Got her.
Dang. Yeah.
Missionary's not bad.
That felt good. Huh?
Missionary's not bad. It's just only too much of anything is bad.
Variety's the spice of life.
Yeah.
So, because we're open-minded and pursuing our own sexual interest in a non-private, non-closeted way, that makes us millennials. So, to all of you out there who are in your 20s, late 30s, or 30s, and you have experimented, you're probably a millennial. So, there you go.
We're going to do the Jeff Foxworthy. If you've ever sucked a dick just to figure out if you like dick, you might be a millennial.
Oh,
that's good.
That's bad comedy, bro.
Ooh.
Oh, dude.
What?
No, that can't be you.
What,
something
Bonesaw?
Smells like yes.
It's not.
Bonesaw smells like it is melting through.
First of all, Bonesaw is not an
okay. Bonesaw's not a lady.
And no, not Bonesaw. That part of my body cannot be a lady.
That is ruggedly masculine.
He is far too grotesque to be that of a woman. But no, I haven't. No, Bonesaw's not even acting up right now. He's chilling.
Acting up. You got him muzzled.
He's
What would be the equivalent of muzzling Bonesaw? You corking him?
Oof, I feel like that would just cause more problems down the line.
Yeah, because I know you're not going to stop emitting gas. So you're going to blow that guy. You're going to geyser yourself.
Dude,
you're going to blow the bloody doors off.
I'm like a goddamn volcano, man.
Well, with that imagery in mind, my mind wanders back to the previous night. And I've got to say, the end of the night was, pretty similar to any other. Some people were throwing up violently. Now, this is what I'm talking about. We talk about Bonesaw, we move on, and then he fucking shows up again.
Dude, fuck.
What?
Continue. You woke him up.
No, I didn't wake him up. He's dormant. He's like the Yellowstone. Like, if he's a guy, he's just lying in wait. He's a predator.
Continue. We're talking too much about ass.
Okay. So, and then other people just had a really good night, and we all went home. I carried a bunch of chairs out to a car, like a Christian guy trying to impress all the girls in the congregation after the sermon, and we went home and we watched some TV, and then you slept in your own piss, and I slept,
As I do.
as I'm wont.
It's the only
to
way
do.
I can sleep.
You go to a hotel and you're like, it has to be done.
I mean, we know a guy that
You keep-
actually pisses on the
You
hotel
keep tossing
curtains.
and turning all night, and then you're like, and you wake up and just stand at the corner of the bed and piss a little bit.
Oh,
And
that's better. Now
immediately
I
fall into a deep, unbroken sleep.
cannonball into my puddle. Like, now it is time.
This is the way I was meant to slumber. So yeah, I mean, what are you? Like when I think about like what it means to be at a party in your 30s.
Wasn't a party.
To me, being at a party in my 30s is, I don't know, it feels a lot like the 20s. It definitely feels like I don't have to. I will say that I get a lot of energy. I'm very galvanized and motivated by social gatherings.
Yeah.
I turn into like a social monster. And I definitely like swing both ways. Like I love to be extroverted, but then I also love like doing nothing and laying in bed all day.
Same.
Yeah, I like doing
Exactly the same.
Mm.
I don't think that what you're calling it a party, but I feel like if you went to what we would call a party a few years ago, I don't think we would have a good time.
no,
Like
it'd be
just
too
loud
much.
music and beer pong and shit and frat boys flexing. You know what I mean?
People throwing dice on the kitchen floor.
Yeah, man, I don't think that's us anymore. But that gathering last night was really fun. Those are really cool people.
It was. They were great people. The best people.
Hell yeah.
Oh, yeah, brother.
Hell yeah.
Breather.
Breather.
Breather. As we slap our chest with our fists. For those of you who can't see it, it's kind of like make fist and then do push-ups really fast, but pull them into your chest and say, breather.
It's great.
So, and that's the metal. That's like how you know you're listening to good metal.
Is that?
If your body doesn't involuntarily spasm into that form, you're not listening to good music. So I don't know. I think for me, like going to parties I'm just doing it to piss you off now. Parties in my 30s, like it feels very like, I will say, we're also in the pandemic times. Hopefully it'll be over the next 3 to 6 months. We'll see. Yeah, probably.
I think it's going to be 6. I hope by my 29th birthday, I can go out and do stuff. But I probably will sit in my bed instead.
I'm not going to lie. When I was younger, I would be anxious for a week because I was so excited to see everybody. And now I will literally sleep through anything. Like, it's like, oh, it's Christmas and your birthday and your cousin's wedding and your son is born. And I'm like, blech.
Yeah.
Wake me up later.
Yeah. I can sleep through anything. I enjoy getting together with my friends, but if I'm sleeping, I'm sleeping.
Ultimately, things are the meaning, things really have the value and meaning that you ascribe or that you believe society or culture places on them. And, obviously that can be attenuated and modified by your own mood and desires. And sometimes my mood and desire is bed.
Yeah. No, I think I'm just too nihilistic and nothing really matters to me.
Nothing really mattress.
Nothing really matters. Yeah.
But I feel what? Huh?
You said and I said shh.
Oh my god, that was really good. I didn't even get I don't know. It felt good, and I would agree. I think if we went to like a grimy, everything loud, strangers, we didn't get to play the let's talk about ourselves game. I mean, that would just be out of control.
There's one positive.
Yeah.
Power hours.
It was oh god, it was really.
I don't think you
fun.
can do power hours at a party like that. I think if you're doing a power hour, it's a gathering.
Yeah, you can't. No, like 50, 40, 30 to 50 people cannot do that together.
But I'm trying to have power hour. Let's have power hour.
No,
not tonight.
Oh, okay. All right.
I'm saying
I'm more amenable to it if you don't spring it on me.
Yeah, you still owe me from the last power hour.
Shut up. I don't owe you anything.
You did a power 37.
Hey, I rounded the halfway point.
Ooh.
I don't have to prove to you anything.
You're not proving. I'm just saying.
I participated.
You don't get a participation trophy, though.
I'm a millennial. I want one.
You don't get one, though.
Come on.
No. Not in the hour of power.
Only the winners prevail.
In our hour of power, you showed you were weak.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was a really good time, and thinking back on it, we made a lot of. It did not turn out the way we thought. Like I remember looking at Kyle during the metal scream karaoke and being like, "This is exactly how I wanted a Friendsgiving to turn out."
And literally an hour before that, we were like, "So we're getting out of here at 10."
Yeah, it turned into such a great time. It was easy, and you know what? That's like. Maybe that's the bigger picture is like I always look for ways I try to contrive situations to bring people together. And sometimes the right energy, the right vibe, the right people, those situations occur naturally and they don't need to be contrived.
Yeah, like last night.
That's what I just fucking said.
I was just agreeing.
Good.
I don't know why you're so defensive.
Good.
And combative. You're aggressively defensive.
You think you're better than me?
No.
It was a good time, and we made some friends. We maybe met our first podcast guest.
Hell yeah.
We'll see. Hell yeah. And the thing about this guy, I don't want to talk about too much in case we don't have it.
We're not
it
gonna.
Doesn't happen. Okay. But I would love to, but I don't want to say too much about it and then it not happen and then get people excited. But he would be a really cool guy. But yeah. So what's the next big social gathering? Oh, dude, guess what?
What?
Chicken butt.
My
birthday. Oh boy. A man can only hope it was a chicken butt.
It truly is a Merry Christmas.
It's not a happy holidays without a chicken arse. So my birthday's coming up.
Hell yeah! What time?
What time? What you mean? What time of year?
Tonight.
I'm a Sagittarius. The Sagittarius time of year. It's December 9th.
Nice.
Now, I will say, the closer we get, the more obnoxious I'm going to be because I don't do that petty, shitty, not going the full enchilada. I get a month of birthday.
Yeah.
Is Bonesaw coming to my birthday? Is that why he's speaking out?
I mean, if I'm going to be there, he's going to be there. I need a +1.
If Bonesaw shows up without Kyle, and I'm like, Bonesaw, where's Kyle? And he's just like, all right, Bonesaw, I'll talk to you later, buddy. How did you get here? I can't imagine. I don't know if it's like your ass disembodied or if it's just like this aura.
I like to think of it as an ass disembodied.
Okay.
With shoes.
He's
got to have shoes.
Like legs and shoes or just like an ass sitting on top of sneakers?
Like an ass hovering over shoes that are walking with nothing connected.
Is this ass in any type of undergarments or pants?
Nope.
Or is it's
just an arse?
Is it facing forward like it walks forward or is it facing?
It's facing forward like it walks forward.
Okay, like Assy McGee on Adult Swim.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Talk about a fucking weird Adult Swim show. So, anyway, it's my birthday. So, the second that it hits December 1st, I celebrate my birthday hard. Like, I'm like, oh, it's my birthday month. Like, if you think that I am gratuitously Dionysian right now with the things I eat and the things that I do to relax, like, just wait till December. Like, I turn into I turn into greed and sloth.
Hell yeah.
The deadly sins. Like, I become just like, I don't know. It's good to celebrate being alive.
Yeah, it sure is.
You know what's fascinating is that every single human being alive has a birthday, and they all celebrate them in different ways. Some people choose not to celebrate them. It's just another solar circuit.
Yeah. Not really that important to me.
Of course not.
What do you mean?
You're just such a contrarian. I'm like, oh, I fucking like busting fat loads over here to it, and you're like, I could take it or leave it.
Yeah, dude, I don't give a shit about my birthday. Like,
Let's talk about why that is. Why do you not give a shit?
Because why would you? It's not. There's nothing unique about it. Just everybody has one, like you just said.
There's nothing special about it, but I would say that no, unique is the right word. There's nothing unique, but every individual birthday is special.
Every day is special. So why is one day more important than the next?
Well, I think we've arbitrarily decided that we're going to take a Gregorian 365-day calendar approach, and so when you make it back to the time, it's interesting. We are celebrating survival.
Yeah, which is fine. I'm not gonna anti-celebrate. Like, God damn it, here's another one.
You're gonna play Russian roulette.
It's just like, oh, there it is. Now I have to spend the next 3 months correcting myself that I'm actually this age instead of this age.
That's your takeaway from birthdays: the inconvenience of correcting.
Yeah,
yourself.
The inconvenience of remembering a new number.
How old are you, sir? 27. Shit! Oh my God, I'm so embarrassed.
Here it is again.
I'm so embarrassed.
Just had one of those fucking birthdays. You know the one.
They're like, sir, I hope you know that you don't become less eligible to buy alcohol or anything. You're like, yeah, but I'm just real embarrassed.
I'm just real upset about this, I don't know, man. It doesn't seem important to me in any way.
I will say from a nihilistic perspective, that's true. And from a universal perspective that's monstrously indifferent to human life and suffering and existence in general, other than the fact that the universe gives life to life, which is really interesting and beautiful as a cycle, it also gives life. Anyway, I'm getting lost in the weeds, getting lost in the sauce. The point is, I choose to celebrate. I think it's like we talked about earlier. It's what you choose to make it. Just like parties, or you choose to see it as a Friendsgiving. I chose to see it as a party.
I choose to see it as a Friendsgiving because that's what the invitation said, and that's what everyone else said, and that's what it was called there. But
potato. So
yeah. You could have chose to see it as your birthday.
Well, no, that would be a pretty big distortion of factual evidence. We're getting close.
Kind of like calling a get together a party.
All right, Kyle. What do you think constitutes a party? Do we have to be drinking Mountain Dew and playing Halo 2?
I don't think that's ever been called a party.
I call those parties.
Well, there's your problem again. We're back to it.
Mislabeling.
No, I think when someone's like, "Hey, come to my party," that's going to be a party.
Okay, but what gives them the magisterial power to endow the gathering they're hosting to designate it as a party?
They're hosting it kind of the same way that when you're hosting, you have the power to make everyone feel awkward around a campfire. It's the same sort of law.
I think you're conflating two very distinct prerogatives of the host, but I will say... Okay, but let's say that you're having you go to a funeral, then you're having people back to your house, and you're like, well, you can come back to the after party if you want. That doesn't make it a party if you call it a party.
Has anyone ever called a follow-up to a funeral an after party?
I'm just saying, we're talking in hypotheticals here. We're just playing the logic
game. If someone decides to throw a party after a funeral, then it's a party. It might be in bad taste, but it's a party.
So what I hear you saying is there's no universal denomination of partying. There's no hard and fast. It has to meet these regulations. You can just call it whatever. Everything's just willy nilly. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Why do you care so much?
That's right. That's a very nihilistic perspective. I should have known. Hell yeah, brother. Whatever. Fuck it. I should have known. Oh my God.
Yep.
Well,
you seem to be at a loss.
It's hard. You can't really argue with nihilism other than the fact that things are inherently valuable, which I don't necessarily agree. I do think the universe is okay. Here we go, shifting. The universe. This is kind of where my spirituality has been shifting to recently.
Let's go.
The universe gives life, the universe okay, so the universe, in order to look at the universe in the way that it currently arranges itself, we have to accept several philosophical concepts. One is that it's deterministic. Deterministic means that it falls into patterns. It's not chaotic or entropic. It's deterministic. I think there's another word. It's called stochastic, which is it falls into... I think that's what stochastic means. It doesn't matter. It's deterministic, which means everything aligns itself into patterns. So in his book, The God Delusion, it's either God Delusion or The Selfish Gene, Richard Dawkins talks about even if evolution did not happen the way that we say it does, he puts forward 7 different models that it could have happened differently that still allow the same thing to happen. And that's because in a universe that's deterministic, everything falls into patterns. And if that's the case, then that means that it gives life to itself. Everything, because if nothing, atoms have to fall into their orbit. They have to fall within their, neutron, positron, electron, and their proton, electron, neutron. They have to fall into that arrangement in order to be adhesive, and they have to fall into molecular structures to be cohesive. If not, nothing would resemble the way it does. So that's the first assumption. The next assumption is parsimony, which means that everything, the simplest explanation for the way things are, has to be the first thing we examine. So if that's the case, not only does the universe give life to itself, but initially that's the simplest way for it to be. It has to be that way. And then obviously complexity comes as multiple iterations happen over thousands and thousands of subsequent generations of iterations. So the reason I'm saying all this is because what I've realized is that the human body, like when people are like, oh, nobody cares about me, I don't care about myself, nothing really matters, life is meaningless. What I try to remember is like, you have a body of millions and trillions of cells that desperately want you to be alive, that are fighting and are part of these coherent, these superorganistic systems of layered and nested systems within each other that are all interconnected and all have two purposes. One is to reproduce. The second one is to continue to live. And so to me, from a very basic biological perspective, my spirituality comes from the fact that everything that I am wants to continue to exist. The only thing that's errant is the mind, and that's because of the social climate and the things that my brain has learned and the behaviors and everything else, and just the chaos of the mind in general. But the other thing is that she's eating. The other
I was
thing,
just clearing my throat.
Oh, sorry, my bird and Kyle's throat. The other thing is that the universe wants to exist. It continues. Now, obviously it may collapse in on itself in millennia and centuries, but for me, being in a body that wants to exist in a universe that gives rise to systems. Now, there is entropy at a larger level, and there's chaos and destruction, but there's also rebirth, and there's cyclical. Everything is cyclical. So for me, what I find my spirituality really pushing me in the direction of is that everything, it may not have meaning from a like, oh, I'm the next chosen Messiah, or we go to someplace better. It's really in the day-to-day values based of, I'm here. I am here because my body, the system that I'm built from, wants me to be here, and the universe wants me to be here, and I'm going to do as much as I can with that while I'm here.
I think calling it want is a little
True.
different. I don't think that cells in your body wake up in the morning and have the conscious thought like, do I want to be alive today? No, and then just die.
Well, in that same ascription of human moods and needs and desires, Richard Dawkins said that like he almost didn't call it the selfish gene because he did that on purpose. Like his publicist, I think, picked that name because it was more compelling that he wanted to call it, because people are like, oh, what does that mean for a gene to be selfish? But a gene can't be selfish. It doesn't need anything. That's what it's designed to do. So it's like we are designed to exist. We're designed to continue. Yeah. And I think that's amazing. That's so much better than like, oh, we're the universe did not give rise to us. It's an accident, and we aren't supposed to exist. Like it's much better for me to think like I have been given form and consciousness by this incredible epiphenomenon of the universe, and I have a mission because of that.
Yeah, I think it's amazing too. I think everything's beautiful. Just nothing matters.
Nothing mattress.
Nothing mattress. Like,
so it's like once it's beautiful until you're launched, and then what you do between the exclamation points of your birth and death really are up to you.
Yeah. I mean, I think my genre, there's a lot of genres of nihilism. I think the one I go to is much less depressing and more like, who gives a shit? Just don't stress about shit. You know,
it's more Buddhist.
Yeah, it's honestly, I think a lot of the tenets that I'm talking about are actually Buddhism, but
I would say I think so, because if you were a nihilist and you really adopted that full value system, like some people think existentialism is nihilism because it's all about determining the greatest good in the life and the authenticity, and that some people choose to take their lives because that's ultimately the power they have, and some people view that as nihilistic to say like, oh well, life is inherently meaningful, and it's like, well, what does meaning mean? Like, what is meaningful? I think you're more of a attachment to things is pointless, and attachment to any possible outcome is pointless, or not pointless, but it's ultimately futile.
I mean, I appreciate life. Don't get me wrong. I love it. I'm glad I'm here. I'd much rather be alive than dead. I'm not depressed in any way.
No.
I just, if I end up getting fired from work tomorrow, it's not going to kill me. Well, unless I can't pay my bills, and then
unless you strike a line at your work and you literally disintegrate.
Yeah, I see death every day, John.
Oh my god.
That's
a fun story.
I'm just saying, I think everything you can give meaning to everything. Everything has the meaning that we give it.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah.
And birthdays have no meaning to me.
Okay. There we go. Route it back.
Neither
I
does-
choose to engage in excessive self-pampering and self-adoration because it's fun, and I get to, because those kind of gatherings that are mandatory if you make them are a great place to see all the people that you care about. And so I'm like, oh, it's my birthday, and as a ritual in our American society, we all get together to celebrate life and accomplishments or the existence. And so what I use that is to get to people together that I never see, because to them birthdays are very meaningful, and so they want to be honored the same way that I want it to be honored. So they will come out, and so I get to see people I don't usually see, and I get to see all the people from all these different networks and diverse groups in one place, and I love that. It's like literally walking into a room where you've known everybody all along, and everyone there likes you and knows you and is happy for you, and it's like having infinity friends all in one place.
I can see why you love it then. I'm more of the... First of all, I hate rituals that
you do.
that don't make any sense. Like if there's a ritual that makes sense, I'm all about it.
It
but
makes sense. It's just not meaning. It's not inherently.
It's an excuse
valuable
to get
you.
together and do shit,
Yeah.
which is great. But in my mind,
That's not.
not
That's not senseless.
not even in my mind. The people that I want to be around, I could call up any weekend and be like, hey, let's go hang out here, and everyone's going to show up. Everyone after that are people I don't really care to be around, and that's just me. I know that that's not how 99% of the world lives. Most people have extended families that they don't get to see every single week if they want to, and they get to hang out with them. But everyone I want to be around, I can be around whenever I want. So that's why birthdays don't really matter to me. That being said, I mean, when my birthday comes, I'm going to be like, hey, everybody, let's get together here. But it's going to be because that's exactly what we did the week before, and that's exactly what we're going to do the week after.
Oh, okay, so it's not hypocrisy. It's literally just a continuation of your pattern of seeing people.
Yeah.
No change.
Yeah.
Except that a few more people may come out because of its importance to them.
Yeah. My birthday being important to them.
Yes.
Yes. Exactly.
Interesting.
What?
It kind of feels it's like you're like following all the rules, and like people think it means something to you, and you're like, I don't give a shit. It's just
That's 100% what I do, because I'm not.
It's it's like social camouflage.
I give absolutely zero shits about convincing people that the way they view the world is not the way I view the world. I don't care at all. Like,
why would you want to take their bad trip with them?
And not even that. Like, some people rely on, like, I mean, that's all some people have is, oh my God, my birthday's coming up in 6 months. I can't fucking wait. Why would I want to take that from them?
That reminds me of a book.
What? What you got?
Those are some big
off.
blips. There's a book by a English psychoanalyst. I think I've already talked about it, by Stephen Grosh, and it's called The Examined Life. And he was a psychoanalyst for 25 years. And in there, he talks about all the. So his book is sectioned into like 5 different chapters about like love, death, change, growing up, etc. And it's really interesting because each one is a case study about different patients he's had. And like obviously he As I slap my microphone away from my face, as I gesticulate wildly with my hands, he changed obviously to protect their information, he changed their names. But the stories he tells are all true. And he obviously got their permission to do it. But, it's just fascinating that the way that people associate and give meaning to things, for whether it's trauma, whether it's survival, whether it's depression, anxiety, whether it's mental illness. I mean, there is like the thing that I will say about I'm going to relate all this back, but the thing that's really baffling about my field of human behavior now that I'm back in it again and practicing is that it's so funny because we have, because of the thing that we talk about is human behavior. Our product is behavior, is human behavior. So we think about knowing that we can explain anything that people do as a very simple 4-step functional assessment. Like it's this reason, it's this reason, it's that reason. It's because the antecedents are this, the consequenting factor, the operant is this, the environment reinforces the behavior, the person reinforces their own behavior. But that, like, when you look at the psychology of it, the complexity and nuance and variables and unique situation, I mean, it's so much more complex. And people, It's like anybody, like anyone that has those kind of things, it could be for any reason, just to survive. Like people, if a behavioral pattern that seems to be damaging, like bulimia, like anorexia, like all these terrible afflictions that people view, if it wasn't serving some purpose for that person, it wouldn't continue to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's obviously a lot more complex than that because we can become addicted to those things. Like, in my field, if someone is like engages in self-injurious behavior, SIB as we shorten it, they may be headbanging and bashing their head against the floor, and we can't figure out why it's happening. And then if we were to do a CAT scan or fMRI, we might see that they are actually becoming addicted to the endorphins that are released because of the blunt trauma they're doing to their head. It's crazy. And that's just like the neurological perspective. I was, doing more top level psychology, but anyway, all this is to say that, yeah, you're right. People, sometimes that's all people have. Sometimes they are just excited about their birthday. They are just excited to see family. They're excited because something is different than the routine has been for endless, countless days.
Yeah.
And that's why I think we think meditation is so important.
Oh, yeah.
So you can break that string of dialogue that says every day is the same, because you can make every day different.
Oh, yeah. You can make every minute different.
You never step in the same stream twice.
Mm-hmm.
Even though that stream may be coming from a toxic waste dump.
Yeah.
You're always going to come out with new extremities and new blood problems.
Yeah. If that's how radiation worked, would you jump in? Would you see if you could be a mutant?
No.
No?
No, because I think we're naturally imbued with a sense of like symmetry and design, and if we see anything that deviates from that, we deem it as unattractive or ugly or strange. Or
so you wouldn't be a mutant just based on future relationships?
When we talk about mutant, are we talking about extrasensory powers?
You don't know,
or it's just like physical malformation?
It's a Russian roulette. You jump in and figure it out. You might come out as Wolverine. You might come out as Invisible Man. You might come out fucking, I don't know, reading minds.
That is such like if there was, I'm just imagining like a giant roulette wheel, and it's like split into 1,000 categories, and some of them are like flying and invisibility, and then some of them are like 75% levitation, where like your arms and one leg are lifting up, but your other leg's dragging on the ground, and like partial invisibility, where like your waist is invisible, but your legs and your upper torso are visible. Just like crazy half measures.
So sad.
Yeah, it's like, dude, I just don't think that I would be willing, if there's that much chance involved. I think I would probably just take my boring old life. Now, if there was a degree of certainty that I would get something truly life-changing and extra human that would radically change my quality of life and give me like experiences like flying or super speed or seeing the past or future, reading minds, like hell yeah.
Maybe you could double dip. Maybe if you got in and didn't like what you wanted, you could jump back.
Yeah,
in.
but what? Okay, but is this like an accruing, like an evolutionary where it like builds, or is it one where it like resets and then to baseline and then gives you something new? Or
it'd
like,
build.
Oh God! So you're like a half levitating, half version, half blinding, half. You can only read half of what people think. So they're like, I really wish he would.
Shit!
I can't wait to buy the.
If he does, then I'm gonna be pissed.
Having half like mind reading abilities, like I really hate it when he. I can't believe my boss is such a. It's like, what do you mean? What else?
What am I?
I know the noun and the verb. What is the qualifying information? Oh.
Yeah.
Well, what a good conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any closing words,
Nope.
Mr. Kyle?
I do not. I feel like I got them all out. I said all the words I need to say.
Say all the words that I know. Wait.
Huh?
I'm better off on my... Oh, that's a Sum 41 song.
Oh.
Tried to be perfect, but nothing was worth it. I don't believe it makes me real. So listen to Sum 41. That song is Pieces. It's really good.
They are our sponsor today.
They're them and Mott's.
Ooh.
We have not done a Mott's throwback.
Yeah, we thought that we could wait them out and just.
No. We're still waiting. We're not giving up.
I'm saying I thought that if we pulled all of our advertising and just stopped talking about them, they would see the change in their sales and they would realize they want us back.
Yeah, we were actually a pretty substantial part of their market share, but
It turns out it didn't affect
It was
anything.
just pennies in the bucket.
Pennies in the bucket.
Well, thank you guys so much for listening, as always, to Savage Discourse. I'm John.
I'm Kyle.
And make sure that if you like what you heard, you drop us a like, leave us a commie, give us subby or likey, sub-commie.
Sub-commies.
Do the thing.
Do the damn thing. Y'all know how to do it.
Y'all know what you're doing.
I think.
You don't need me to tell you how to do it.
Hell yeah. We got like 4 new subscribers
Yeah,
now.
dude. We 16% increased our yield.
Maybe that's what we should do right now. We should just every weekend we should find a party and go to, and then just get people to subscribe to our channel
and just like watch them do it. Like here, let me see your cell phone. Here,
yeah,
press
let me
this
show
button.
you something. Hey, do you mind if I make a call? Just go around like, oh, dude, my car broke down. Can I make a call and just pull up their YouTube and subscribe? Like, oh, it's fine.
Now
I got it work.
That is a truly devious plan. Thank you guys so much, and as always, make sure you meditate. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Kyle.
Hydrate. Are you taking my shit?
I know. I just looked at you. I thought you were looking at me angrily, but I think you were confused.
I was like, what's going on here?
Why are you saying that?
Is that me over there? Have I been John today?
Thank you guys so much. Have a great night, and we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye. Wear